All right, so good to, well, I don't really see you all. I see your names. Joy to be here with all of you. We're here in our new center and feels quite special. The old one felt special too. So, been very fortunate to have the conditions ripen for us to have an environment to cultivate these qualities within our hearts and minds. So grateful. Good to have the monks here. And as I mentioned, in case you came in later, they stopped by today on their way out of town and really wanted me to express their gratitude, their appreciation for all that we do here for the Dharma and for them. They really felt that they were well cared for. It's one of their best parts so far, being in the United States on the road. All right, well, it is, let's see, 6:19. We have a little time to dive in here. Last week, we had a special guest, Venerable Damcho. She's amazing. I really love listening to her teach. I get so inspired. She's so clear, so sharp, so perky, and really is an established practitioner. So we're entering into the great scope, and we're at the stage of cultivating bodhicitta. And two methods, 7-point cause and effect, and equalizing, exchanging self for others. The beginning portion of both is equanimity. So it's actually the foundation prior to engaging in these practices. It's actually an analytical type meditation practice that we engage in. Begins with equanimity. So she shared a couple different meditations on equanimity. And I think I would want to check in with you on those first. So anyone that might have a question or comment or something to share from last week, you can raise your hand, and I think I can mic you so we can hear you. I do want to touch base, since I was not the teacher last week, she was. See if there's any questions on that. There's two different methods. And I'll keep an eye out. You can always just type in the question and answer too. That way I see those pretty quick and easy. Okay, pause it, nothing yet. I'll talk for a moment and we'll see if we come up with something. So equanimity, it was interesting that she brought up a method that was more specific to the 7-point cause and effect, and one more so for the equalize and exchange self for others. Equanimity, though, is the baseline. Equanimity is just critical. How am I going to really expand my love, care, and compassion to all beings if I can't equalize them? I don't recognize the value in all of them. And so this process of beginning is a process of noting how we differentiate, how we value some over others, how we, will have an enemy and have a friend, have someone that, could care less. These three is one of the skillful methods that we work with. People we like, people we don't like, people we're kind of neutral about. And in a meditation, she guided, the opportunity to start to notice, why do I like this person? Why don't I like that person? Why is this person not important? And really, it's an inquiry. So these analytical meditations, the Lam Rim is essentially a whole book of analytical meditations. Analytical meditations get you to a realization. You go through a process and you poke and you prod. And as you do so, truth should arise. And so you just keep asking the questions, you keep expanding, and you keep exploring. And it's interesting that we rarely have an opportunity to do that. We have a feeling, we label someone or something, this was great, that was wonderful, they're a jerk, they're wonderful. And we just move on and we don't really explore, what's underneath all that. So these types of analytical, excuse me, I think I just need a drink of water. These types of analytical meditations are really designed to pause and to understand our experience and to explore the root causes of our experience, to broaden our view, to seek the truth. And so they get you to a result. So as I've mentioned before, the method they use is you hear a teaching, you meditate on a teaching. Actually, you hear a teaching, you contemplate a teaching, then you meditate on a teaching. And in the contemplation, I just need to pause. I'm getting too ahead of myself here. A little enthusiastic. This is just, that stuff I grew up with in my early days. So I get, it just brings up, it brings up such gratitude and joy, really, and some excitement, because it was new to me. It was so new to me. So this process of hearing a teaching, we hear a teaching, we have a teaching tonight, and we analyze it, we contemplate it, we pick it apart, we poke at it, and some bit of realization can arise, and then the meditation, we meditate on that realization, we let it sink in, which is pretty antithetical to the whole way that we learn in the United States. We memorize things, we turn in papers, we will do whole university courses. And at the end of it, we may remember a few key points or a few things that stuck with us, but, we've read volumes of pages and, we're not going to remember much of that. This is a much different approach. Let's take one thing and let's look at it, let's poke at it, let's understand it, let's seek the truth here. And so with equanimity, it's not an interesting philosophical idea. It is, well, let's explore. And so we put people in these categories, people I like, people I don't like, people I don't have much feeling towards one way or another. And we explore why that is, and why is this person any less important than that person. So equanimity, the word equality, is at its core. No one's above, no one's below. We all have Buddha nature. We're all in this together. I'm not better off than anyone. I'm in samsara. And I have some incredible opportunities because I've had some conditions ripen and some teachers available. That doesn't make me better than anyone. That makes me more fortunate than many. These others that we label and experience in different ways, they also have Buddha nature. They also have experience, and they also might be much more realized than I am. And they might be here simply to show me my mind, to watch that grasping, to watch that anxiety, stress, whatever arise, that tension, so I can explore it. It might be my great teacher showing up in that form. So there's a lot to work with on equanimity, and she took everyone through two different meditations. One, breaking people into three. like, don't like people I'm neutral about, and then exploring why I like them, don't like them, so forth. I don't want to go through the whole thing she did. And then the other method was much more exploring people in general, and not just people, all sentient beings. It's often easy to start with people, but it includes all beings. And exploring their value, how much they've helped us and how little they've harmed us. And, if they were coming to, in need, if there were 10 of them and they're all needing medical care, is anyone less important than another? If they are all hungry, why would I feed one over another? It just took us through this wonderful expansion of how we view people and explore that relationship that we have. So these two methods, I think, were really quite wonderful, and they are the traditional methods. But at the end of it, there should be a taste of some equanimity, a taste of understanding, maybe just a small taste that everyone, every being, animal, has Buddha nature, it has value, that they give us the life that we have, are helpful. And equanimity then can be expanded to all of our experiences. So it's important to take some time to explore this, not just have a talk about it. And see if you can go through some of these meditations. In the daily practice that we do with the 4 immeasurables, Geshe Gelsen, my teacher, would have us, bring to mind 3 types of people for each of the immeasurables. And I think that's a nice way to keep brushing up. And we bring these to mind. Sometimes I'd be walking to the temple and, and I would just notice someone I walked by on the street, and I'd go, that's going to be my stranger, my neutral person. And I'd remember, and I'd bring them, so I'd have a face when I meditate. And these are good things to do. And then the idea is, as I've cultivated equanimity, then I engage in one of these 2 practices for cultivating bodhicitta. And what I think it would be valuable today is touch upon one. We'll go through the steps, and then see if we can use maybe the first step as a good practice for the week. So just pause there. Anyone have any questions or comments yet to this point? Okay. Just double check right here on this button. Okay, nothing yet. All right, so was mentioned last week, 7-point cause and effect, also called 6 causes, 1 result, and equalizing, exchanging self for others. And the most common one that is, most appropriate for most people is 7-point cause and effect. And it's described that way. And again, all of these Lam Rims are not designed to, I'm just going to do a little meditation here, a little meditation here. It's that I'm going to spend a great deal of time and energy on this one topic, on this one point. I'm going to poke at it. I'm going to meditate on it. I'm going to gain some taste of it before I move on to the next. As we teach Lam Rim, since we're not in this course for 15 years, we cover, so the roadmap's there. So we have little bits to touch upon, and then in our practices we can draw upon them more deeply. having established some equanimity, some practice of that, some taste of that, engaging in the 7-point cause and effect. Cause, effect, key, right? So if I meditate in this way, I'll have this result. So each one leads to next, leads to next, leads to next. 7-point cause and effect traditionally starts with recognizing all beings as having been your mother. And in the West a lot now, and I noticed in His Holiness's book on how to practice great love, which is really all about bodhicitta. So a great complementary text written for Westerners, utilizing some examples we can relate to and might be more conducive for our minds. He used the word recognizing friends. So a lot of people did not have a great relationship with their mother here. And sometimes it's very difficult to think of our mother in that all-encompassing great love that a mother has. It's a good example in a lot of situations with many of us. We did have a mother like that. Many of us did not. Different cultures, maybe experience it a little differently. But the idea is very simple to draw upon, is that a mother's love is, this strong love that, they changed our diapers, they cared for us, they endured a great deal of physical pain to give us life. Their, mothers are fiercely protective, whether we're in the animal world or human world. So that ideal of a mother's love, clearly incredibly powerful. My mom was actually a pretty wonderful example of that. But not everybody had that mother. And so as a result, sometimes we have some sticky points that are hard to bring that degree of care and compassion. So he also started with just recognizing everyone maybe as having been your friend. That sorry, this little things pop up. How they've benefited you, how they've cared for you. So sometimes, could be a good mentor in our life, could be a mother, could be a father, could be an aunt and uncle, could be a school teacher, someone who's just, was always there. And sometimes it's hard to find those. And sometimes we can just take some time to think about people that, have demonstrated these qualities. Because what we're looking for is some sense of care that we've experienced. Now, we've all been cared for. We have been cared for by countless others. Everything we have in our life is because so many others. And so wherever our starting point is, let me give you the traditional first, which is seeing everyone as having been our mother. And so within Buddhism, we have this understanding that our bodies die, but our consciousness continues, and there's life and life and life. And so life after life after life, there has been countless mothers we've had, countless fathers. We've been mothers, we've been fathers. And throughout eons of lifetimes, why wouldn't someone have been my mother at some point? We've been doing this such a vast beginningless time. And so therein lies the little opening. And everyone I meet has been my mother at some point in my life. In not in this life, but in lifetimes. And so could we open our mind to that potential? And we think, well, okay, right now I'm in this human form, in this body, and I know this mother. And but in other lifetimes, my mother could have been all kinds of, who knows? And so in a culture where rebirth is just common way of understanding and experiencing the world, it's pretty easy to tap into that. For us, it might be very difficult. And so the advice here is not to make up something we don't believe in. It's going to be hard to settle into that. So maybe we're not at a point where we can really have even the thought that we've been around, since eons, and that everyone's been our mother. That maybe does not compute. And so I think His Holiness brought in a very skillful method there. Is recognizing friends, recognizing that everyone and everything and every being has contributed to life that you have. And we don't see that very frequently. We can actually have kind of resentment towards someone who has helped us a lot, and they do this one thing, and I focus on that and forget how much kindness they've had.